So it's mid-November and decided to do a bit of a walk today. I'm in Spalding, my hometown. I haven't got the dogs with me, unfortunately. Had a bit of a problem with the van yesterday with the battery. Battery started to smoke, which sits underneath the driver's seat, which was a bit hairy. However, I believe the battery's dead. So as my wife has got the Land Rover, I can't bring the dogs because I'm in the little Volvo, which is behind me, and there isn't proper securing places for the dogs in there, so the dogs aren't with me. I'm going to do a quick walk in Spalding, my hometown. Spalding is a market town which is on the Fens in Lincolnshire, and we have a number of man-made channels, for want of a better word, that prevent flooding. So today I'm going to walk the Coronation Channel, which I've done little bits of it before with the dogs, so a regular walk for us. And today I'm going to do the entirety of it, which is going to be about 6 kilometres. So this is where we usually start our walk. And as you can see, it's quite a built up area. And there's the water to the side of us. Doesn't look very inviting, this walk, when you start coming down this lane, which is a bit narrow. But as you come through here, we just go around the corner, and then all of a sudden this just opens up into a wonderful channel. Lots of nature down here. I'm not good at nature. I want to get better, and I'm hoping that that's what I'll do as I do these walks. So we'll start today with this little 6 kilometre, see how quickly we can do that, and I'll take you along the way, see what we can do. No camping or anything like that because we're too close to the town. So just got my little day sack on with a couple of snacks and a little bit of cup of tea in there for me if I want to later on. Spalding is a market town in Lincolnshire. Back in the day, well known for its tulips, big growing area. As I said, a market town, although the market is not great anymore, all but done, to be honest. As usual, down to council regulations, nowhere to park, people not able to get there. And it seems like the marketplace, all of the shops around are moving out just to be replaced by gambling shops, which is the big bugbear in this town. So I still like it, still love it, still a nice place to work and to live. And as I say, it doesn't take us too long to, what did I travel? 5 minutes from home, and I can walk areas like this. It's not so bad. And as I go further out from Spalding, lots of fenland, lots of walks that we're able to do. So the one thing about this walk, and what makes it most appealing for the dog walkers, is that every mile or so, or not even that, every kilometre or so, you find a bridge that if you're just doing a short walk with the dog, you can just cross over and then come back down the other side of the bridge, or down the other side of the bank even. So you can park up somewhere in the residential areas and then just walk for a small walk with your dog, which is what we tend to do. Obviously you just have to be a bit careful with the dogs, and when you get to the road, making sure that they're back on any leads. The good thing about this walk, the only wildlife that you're going to see that dogs can get to is going to be other dogs that are walking. So no sheep or horses that are going to be roaming. So since I last spoke to you, did some more tests with the equipment that I've got. Sleeping bag that I've got needs to be changed. It's far too bulky, far too heavy, and so I'm currently looking at some down sleeping bags, but at this point my tent hasn't turned up, my tarp hasn't turned up, so we're only walking at the moment anyway. So that's the first bridge we've got to. Not too much in the way of traffic to worry about ever, at this part anyway. A bit farther on we get a bit more busy. So we're off in the distance there, you can see the main A16 road. But none of that noise from the traffic seems to get across here, which is good. We've got some industrial units just here, which are making a bit of noise at the moment, but it's still so peaceful. Spotted, I think, what's down there, a couple of moorhens. Let's see if I can zoom in on them. We've got the black and white ones, which I said were moorhens, but everybody's going to tell me I'm completely wrong, because what do I know? As I said at the start of this, I know nothing really about birds or nature, so hopefully someone's going to correct me with that. So I don't know if you noticed, when I started off, yeah, I have my shemag on, scarf, but I have a very thin fleece on, and also just underneath I have a bit of a thin base layer as well. Started off at 3 degrees this morning when I started the walk. Not quite sure what it is now. The sun's just disappeared behind some clouds, so possibly I would have thought it's still about 3 degrees. But I've already got the sleeves up because I'm nice and toasty, don't need any more clothing on than that. Remember, like I always used to do, start your walk cold, have those layers to put on if you need, but worst thing you can do is overheat to start with, and then have cold sweat on your skin, which is going to make you cold very quickly. So on this one, the bridges are only about a couple of 100 meters apart, not very far at all from that one to that one. I hope nobody's walking their dog just that short distance. So I currently stood on the bridge here, which is the road bridge that I talked about. As you can see, there's the road from the main road, bit of a bite. Just in front of us there is a bit of a steel bridge, which used to be a railway line, part of the railway line, and this used to be the Spalding to Holbeach line. I went through here. So trucking still along the edge of the A16, and this channel it goes all the way, as far as we're going to go, and where we turn round is at a place called Springfields, which is a shopping centre. So we'll go up as far as there, which is the end of the Coronation Channel, and we'll turn around and we come back down the other bank back to the car, but all the way up we will track along the edge of the A16. When we get towards the top, we will actually be on the outskirts of Spalding, so there's going to be a lot more traffic. We're starting to approach that now. So the next bridge that we come to is a main road bridge back into the centre of Spalding, and then after that we're on top of the shopping centre. So as I said, Spalding is growing country. Lots of vegetables are grown here. Lots of experiments with mixing and crossing vegetables to make them more hardy and more plentiful. And we're just approaching, on the other side of the bank there, our first lot of greenhouses. And as we approach the next bridge, which, as I said, is one of the more busy road bridges into Spalding, we see our first angular, that's better, our first angular. I don't know about you, I do enjoy a good walk in the countryside, but sitting on a riverbank, just watching a float for a long time, that really doesn't do a great deal for me. Respect those guys who enjoy it, but for me, not something I like. So this road bridge is where myself and one of my colleagues from work meet up usually and start our dog walk, going in the opposite direction to where we've come so far. The good thing about this is you are able to park on this bridge for a short time, just while you take the dog up to the shopping centre and come back. Usually takes us a bit of an hour, mainly because we're chatting, so we have a little bit of an amble rather than a walk. So just waiting to cross this road. So the next little part will take us up to the church, and then from the church it's just up to the shopping centre and then a turn back round. So we're just now approaching on the other side of the river what is called Spalding Bakery, or what is known as Spalding Bakery. Spalding Bakery, the dogs love it. It smells horrid because it's actually an abattoir. It does the full process. It has livestock coming, which is then slaughtered, and then goes through the full processes of butchering, and then gets put into sausages, or sausage rolls, pasties, pies for major supermarkets, hence the reason why it's called Spalding Bakery. It's a full process, one end to the other. So I have to say, as soon as that sun's gone in, it's now starting to get a little bit chilly. So in a minute, when I'm going to stop when we get to the halfway point before I turn around and come back, and I'm going to probably put a jacket on because, as I say, it's starting to get a bit cooler now. So I haven't seen a great deal in the way of birds in that at the moment. However, we are just coming up on a couple of swans that are just majestically going down the water. As I said, quite a busy road coming up. So a quick look up and down the road to make sure that there's nothing coming, which is probably going to be for the next 5 minutes. Look up there, I'll try and zoom in properly. Look at the old church bell, but it's been some years since that's been rung. Looks like the back, it looks like it's closed up. I think that's just to try and keep people from sheltering underneath there and people sleeping underneath that canopy. Yep, so it looks like we're walking on a bit of a gravel path. That's because there are a couple of houses there on the back of the church, but we'll be back onto the footpath just coming up here. So that gantry up ahead is one of the sluice gates. As I said when we started, these channels have been built to stop Spalding flooding. So there is quite a bit of water management that goes on, and that's where we're going to turn around and come back. So I just had a brief stop then and talked to one of the local guys who lives just on the edge of the bank here, and as we approach the sluice gate here, or the lock gate as he called it, he says a lot of the residents recently have been seeing kingfishers. There's a load of kingfishers, and the other day he saw one bring a fish out of the water as well. Also, he says there's lots of foxes along this bank, and he sees monkjack in his back garden all the time. So it's you don't have to go far from your own home to find some wildlife. There we go. There's the lock gates. Just some buoys there, which just prevent anybody getting too close. There are some pleasure craft do come up here, and Spalding has a water taxi. So all of what we've just walked and a bit farther on the main channel, you can park your car outside and get the water taxi up to the shopping centre, which is just on the other side of the water there now. So just reaching the halfway point then, I'm going to have a quick stop and have a drink, and maybe put that fleece on, or swap this fleece out for a bigger one, and then we'll cross over the road, over the bridge, and start back. It's been very, very easy going so far for the first walk out. Really enjoyed it. So changed the fleece, had a quick snack as we cross the bridge. Going to take advantage of the litter bin that's just here, so I can get rid of my rubbish. So this is the bridge, which is our point. That's where we've come from. We'll cross over and go back on the opposite side. Just going to take a moment just to walk across and show you. So the other side of the lock gate, we come up to here, and there in the background you have Spalding Power Station. Now if you follow the water here farther, you'll find, keep going and keep going, you'll finally, I'm just going to rush back across the road because it looks like they've just opened it to allow some water through. Yeah, and they have. So there we go, they're letting water out of the Coronation Channel where we've just walked, and back into the main body of water. Now if we cross over here, they're just allowing that water now, you can hear it, to flow back out onto the marsh. So everything the other side of this floodgate, or this lock, is tidal. And there we go. If we look up, you'll see, come down here a bit so we haven't got the railings in the way. So if you look up there, that's where all the water's going to go, out onto the marsh. And eventually, if you follow the water far enough, not that many miles, past Spalding marshes, you'll come to the wash. And that's what makes this river tidal, water coming in and out from the wash. Luckily that's not the way we're going. You can probably hear some children playing in the background. We're just passing a nursery. This is on the side of the riverbank here. As we get past here, I'll swing the camera around and you'll be able to see. There we go. That's the car park, and in the background is Springfield Shopping Centre. As I said, our turnaround point. And as I suggested before, just here, that's the pier for the water taxi. So you can come shopping on the little boat and you go back to your car, which is parked on the other side of Spalding. So I didn't have the camera on when he flew across, but on the other side there is a heron, and you see herons up and down the channel all of the time. When you go the other way towards the marshes, they kind of nest more that way, and you'll see absolutely loads of them. And there in the background we also have a lesser spotted shopping trolley. So just while I'm here, a couple of months ago, this wasn't recently, we had this tree come down that I'm walking towards now. I think we did quite well over the past week. I haven't seen any trees down along here, but as I say, this one came down about 2 months ago, and I don't know if they still are or if it's too cold, but there was somebody in a tent underneath the fallout of this tree. I think they've moved on. So no, they've definitely moved on. Don't blame them. Started to get very cold to be living in a tent. So I don't know about you guys, but I've always wanted to forage. Never had the courage to do it. I've seen the videos, I've watched some of the videos, but still don't have the courage to go out and pick some of those mushrooms. I will probably have to at some point. It'd be nice to do a foraging course, see what there is out there to eat. Because it seems a waste to go and buy stuff when you can find it growing wildly and not processed. Just stop here a second, because just in that field over there, another heron. I'm going to try nettle tea. I've seen how to collect the leaves and without stinging yourself, and suggests that it's good in antioxidants, and also I've seen some places say that it's good for arthritis as well. Now, I don't necessarily suffer with arthritis. Jules, my wife, does. She has some arthritis in her ankles and in her hands. So, nothing ventured, nothing gained, that's what I say. So I turned the camera off for a little while, just as we come back past Spalding Bakery. There's nothing nice there to see. But now we're approaching the road bridge again. So this would be the stop point for the dog walk. In the edit of this will probably take about 5 minutes, but usually takes me and Glenn about an hour to walk up to the turnaround point and come back down to here. And we kind of do that quite often. He has 2 dogs. I have Washington and Jefferson. And it's a nice little place to walk the dogs. I've purposely not put anybody else on camera, but the amount of dog walkers that I've passed and said hello to this morning, many. Sometimes you see them like we do now in the distance, but I make sure that the camera goes off before we get to them. Whole load of seagulls, all lined up as though someone's just about to take the free kick. Don't know what they're all doing in here. Maybe rough at sea, and they've come inland a bit. So I think we've got 2 bridges left to go till we're back to the car. It's been a nice little walk this morning so far. It's taken a little bit longer than we thought, but that's my fault because I stopped and talked to people. And I woke up this morning, or the past couple of days should I say, I've had quite a chesty cough, and when I got up this morning, the damp air, I had a bit of a cough then, and I thought, oh, it's going to be a bit hellish going out walking today. But I've just noticed that I haven't coughed since I've been out. All the time I've been out, not coughed at all. Nose is starting to run now because it's getting a bit cold, but nothing more than that. Just the cold air getting up my nose. So nice to get out and get the fresh air. So just as we walk along here, just point it out to you. Big factory just on this side, which is a big employer for Spalding, to be honest, is Gusto, where so this is where a lot of your pre-packed meals come from. You know, the ones in the boxes where you get the ingredients delivered to your door. That all comes from this factory here. Yeah, a couple of juvenile swans just making their way back. Up the water. So I've seen a little bit of nature today. Much better in the spring and summer, obviously. But still some about. I got to talk to loads of people. And to get some fresh air. So just past a couple of people who live in tents on the side of the riverbank. I do know a little bit farther down here on my left hand side there is a little copse of woods, which the only way to get to is from the bank that we're on. And from my job I know that there's a shanty town of rough sleepers in there, and quite a number of tents in there as it happens, so we sometimes get to go there. As I say, I enjoy a bit of wild camping, but I enjoy doing it when I want to do it. I wouldn't want to be living in a tent through the winter, most definitely. Lincolnshire, the flattest county in the UK. Well, that could be wrong. The flattest county in England, we'll say that much. See for miles. Don't know what these spooky guys are doing, drying their wings up there. I don't know what they are though. They look a bit prehistoric. So here we are, back where we started. Just coming up onto the main road bridge. Now I'll have a look. I think when I looked, it suggested that this walk was about 6 kilometres, maybe a little bit more. I'll have a look at the route, pop it up on the screen. So here we are, back at the road bridge. As I said a minute earlier on, it took us a little bit longer than I thought it might, but that's probably because I've stopped and talked to everybody along the way. I'll put the route up, which, as I say, took a bit longer than we thought. If you're in Spalding, try the Coronation Channel. It's a nice walk. Absolutely lovely in the summer. But now we're back on the road and just around the corner from the car. If you're walking, be safe and make sure you don't get lost or squashed. See you next time.